So in this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to make 3D pixel art in just a few easy steps using Adobe Illustrator. So let's jump into it. So to begin, all you need is an image. And so in this example, I just have a JPEG of this potion here. So select your image and we're going to go up to Object and down to Create Object Mosaic. And here you're just going to select how many tiles you want for your width. And so I'm going to select 24, so 24 tiles wide. And then we're going to select Use Ratio, and that's going to calculate how many tiles we need for our height. And I've also got my result set to color, or you can select gray if you want it grayscale. And I've also selected Delete Raster, which means it's going to delete our original image. So if you don't want that, you can just deselect this here. Then press OK. And as you can see, it's going to pixelate our image. And now these are all vector squares. So if I zoom out here and drag this over onto the gray, you can see it's also pixelated our background. And so it's left us with all of these white squares. So we don't want these here. So to remove them, you can do this a number of ways, but I'm going to use the Shape Builder tool. And we're going to start by selecting our image and then holding Alt. We can simply trace around all of the white tiles that we don't want, and this is going to remove them. And so once you have removed all of the unwanted white tiles, we can now make this 3D. So I'm going to drag this back onto my canvas. And now with it selected, we're going to go up to Effect and down to 3D Materials, Extrude and Bevel. And here you can see it's made it 3D, and we can play around with these settings here. So I'm going to make it a little bit deeper. So something like that. And now what we're also going to do is give it a bevel. So turn on this toggle here, and I'm going to select round for the bevel shape. And I'm just going to drop the bevel width down to maybe 20%. And same with the height. So you can play around with these until it looks right for you. And just like that, we've created this super cool 3D pixel art. Now taking a look at another example, and in this example, I've actually made this heart here, which is a vector shape. So if we select our heart and go up to Object and scroll down, you'll actually see that Create Object Mosaic is now grayed out. So if you're seeing that, what you need to do is rasterize your vector. So if we select rasterize and you copy these settings here and then press OK, and now we should have a raster image. So if we go back up to Object, scroll down, we can now create Object Mosaic. So following the same steps as before, this time I might make the width 20 and then select Use Ratio, and as you can see it's calculated our height, and then press OK. Now in this example, since we have basically two colors, we have the red and the white, a shortcut to removing all of these white tiles is to select the Magic Wand tool. And then if we click one of these white tiles, you can see it's going to make a selection and select all of the ones with the same color. So I can now simply click delete, and now those are all gone. And you can see we also have some of these that aren't quite the same red. So we can just select all of our heart, and then with the eyedropper tool, swatch the red that we want. And now all of our tiles are red. So with our heart selected, we can go up to Effect, 3D Materials, extrude and bevel. Again, following the same steps, going to adjust the depth, and then under bevel, turn this on. Bevel shape, I'm going to set to round and reduce the width, maybe the height. You can also play around with any of these other settings. You can adjust the lighting and materials, but I'm going to keep those as they are for now. And what you can also do is play around with the angle or the orientation of your shape by selecting this little center point here, and we can rotate our shape. And that is how to create 3D pixel art in Adobe Illustrator.